This is just a brief little video. I've been having a bit of grief with the car recently. This is the fuel tank out of a petrol Frontera. Now I know what you're saying, you're going, why is he running a petrol motor? Well, I run it on LPG, but it's got to start on petrol. So I stopped on the way home last week, filled up with gas, put some petrol in as well. That's gas, that's LPG, and then it wouldn't start. Anyway, cut the tries. I thought I'll switch over to gas manually. So I switch over to gas manually, and away she goes. Get home, and the fuel pump fuse had blown. Right, it's a 20 amp fuse, so there's something serious has gone adrift. So I took the relay out, popped the cap off the relay points and the coil and everything looks just perfect. So that was it for the day. Next day, phoned up, tried to find a fuel pump. The Vauxhall ones from the dealer were like a fortune plus a half, and there were no pattern ones available, so I had to get a second-hand one. Anyway, getting the tank out was a nightmare, but only because it hadn't been out before. I'm just going to, there are 2 bolts at the front, and there's a bolt either side at the back. Now, the one on the innermost side, nearest the prop shaft, is a bolt sticking down with a nut. So you can soak that in diesel, leave it half an hour, and it came undone. The one on the sill side at the front is a captive nut in a little angle bracket off the chassis. So you've got to be careful. So you're actually just about able to get up in there with a wire brush, because the bit of bolt sticking up above the captive nut, of course it's not short, it's about this long. Soak it in diesel for an hour, several brushings of it, it just came undone. The back 2, complete nightmare. The one on the sill side, just in front of the wheel, it had been soaked quite a lot, and it was coming out gently, then it snapped off. Okay, not too bad, you can drill it out. But the bolts are quite hard, so you need a real sharp drill and go very steady at it. The one nearest the differential, it was coming out gently, I was being real gentle with it, and then the captive nut sheared off inside, so the whole thing was spinning. It's just this sort of thing that makes the whole job pain in the neck. I'll just move this box. So what I had to do was cut through this steel flange to the bolt, and then open up the hole and then slide it out. So yeah, it all takes time. Plus, there's the, let me just see, because the books don't show you this, of course. There's the filler, and of course there was a Jubilee clip round the hose, and it was sea solid. Somebody had been in here before, and the hexagons on the Jubilee clip were all rounded off. So I had to get a little junior hacksaw, very gently, about 10 minutes, cut through the band of the Jubilee clip without damaging this or the rubber hose. So, and then that one's just got a little springy clip, it's plastic luckily, so that just pops on, and there's that one there. So once you've lowered the tank like this, you can get to that, you can get to this and this, as long as you know where they are, and now you do. So then you can lower the tank. Okay, so you're sitting, the car's on axle stands or on ramps or something, so you access this lot from the back, leaning over the back axle. Okay, so that's that. So this side, the fuel pipes come from here, down here like this, and they're rubber for that long, or plastic, then they're steel, and then they clip into there. So as you lower this lot, you've got to pop these out there, lower the tank down. This steel will probably be corroded. The one I've done, I actually repaired it, put it back in, and I was finding that it wasn't starting that well because it seemed to be losing fuel pressure. So I took it out again, and there was a weep in one of these pipes where I disturbed it and put it back in and then fired it up. It obviously created a weak point, or there was a rust chip had come off and there was a leak, a little minute leak. So it's probably better to go petrol pipe, flexible petrol pipe, from here all the way to where it connects the steel just here. Right, that's that. Next bit, I did get another pump, and this thing here is what holds the pump on, the pump in the top of the tank, okay, and you just knock it round, but of course it'll be rotten as a pear when you get to it, so chip it out, clean it up, clean all the muck, soak it with diesel and a brush, yeah, and then be very gentle, because there are 4 tabs sticking out the top of the tank, 1 to 5, I tell a lie, and you don't want to bust those off. So that is the locking ring, and this is what a pump looks like. It's huge, isn't it? This one is off a long wheelbase. The short wheelbase ones are longer because the tank's higher. This is a short wheelbase, whereas on a long wheelbase the tank goes along, same height, and it's longer. So what happens is you push it in the tank and these rubber feet sit on the bottom, anti-vibration and all that lot. Then it's locked in place. Anyway, I've got a bit of grief with this one because I've taken it out again. So we'll see whether we can do something here. I've loosened, this has always been out before, and as you notice, I've blathered it in grease. If you're doing this for the first time, I suggest you knock on all sorts of different places rather than just in one place. So that's the sealing ring, or the locking ring. This is held in place by that, but it's also got a key, so it's got to be in the right place. Now when you're taking this out, be careful of the sender unit. Let that fuel drain off. I got most of the fuel out. So there you go. That's a short wheelbase one. That's a long wheelbase one. What I had to do, because this is the only one that I could get, was the pump actually is identical, and the pump is here. Okay, and it normally has this flexy, sprongy bit of pipe. Because I had to take the pump out of the long wheelbase frame and put it in the short wheelbase frame, then the 2 bits of pipe were different lengths, so I put this on instead. Hopefully that encourages that you can do it. The major hassle is the 4 bolts that hold the tank in. Have 2 jacks underneath it. Lower the back end first. The back end being this end. Lower it like that, jack either end, and then just eases back slightly and then drops out. Disconnect these. These are a little bit odd. Let me see, I don't want to get any muck on there. There's a sealing ring here, and there's a tab that sticks down somewhere here that makes up with a notch so that you know the pump's in the right place. What was I saying? Oh yeah, these things. These are hold the pipes on. You press that, and then you ease that off. Yeah. So there you go. Easy enough, isn't it? Hopefully that will help you, because the manuals don't really show you all those details.